Welcome to Creating a Legacy, a Football Manager 2017 series with West Ham United FC. Now this series will have a very different style to my Regen Rovers career. Those of you that watch that series will know there's been numerous episodes, lots of updates per season, but this series will literally just be an update series, one season per episode. So this episode 1 will just be the first season of this save. The reason for that is I just want it to be a relaxed style. I generally manage West Ham, the team I support, most years on Football Manager. There's been a couple of series on YouTube with West Ham United on my channel, and I fancy managing them again. And last year I did manage West Ham, but I didn't post it on YouTube. I put it on Twitter, and there were quite a few people saying that have been interested to watch some videos on it. So it's literally going to be like a Twitter save, but on YouTube. So I will be able to show things in more detail. There's not going to be any live comms. There's not going to be any craziness. It's just going to be a nice, relaxed, simple series where you follow my career with West Ham United. So you can see before you, there's a bit of information on the screen about West Ham. So I'm sure you've been reading that in the background. This is the first team squad. Key names, I guess, the likes of Lanzini, Antonio, Obiang, who's quality, I must say. Payet has of course left the club. This is using the winter update, the FM17 winter updates. Everything is completely up to date as of, I guess, the end of February 2017. There's some key youngsters in the squad that I feel can turn into quality players going forwards. The likes of Domingos Quina, a 16-year-old Portuguese player, incredibly young, but has vast amounts of potential. Another player, Vashon Nerfil, who I managed to turn into a very good left back on FM16 actually, so I'm hoping to do the same on FM17. Reece Oxford, everyone knows about him, of course he has great potential as well. He's on loan at Reading in this first season. Marcus Brown, you may not have heard of him, but he's got some good potential. He's on loan at Wigan. He could be a quality player in the future. And the likes of Josh Cullen, who Bradford City fans would definitely know about because he has been immense for them this season and really could become a very good player for West Ham in the future. Tony Martinez as well, a young Spanish striker who's been banging them in for the West Ham youth team this season, has now moved to Oxford on loan, so he starts at Oxford on loan on this save. So there's plenty of potential in the team for the future, and in the team already, Fernandez, a Swiss youngster who could go on to be a real star in this series. I've already done a lot of developmental things. I've got a few players to be tutored. I've already focused on the training sides of things for the players. You can see here I'm already focusing on a few things in training, additional focus, player traits. I haven't not done anything on that yet, but I need to, first of all, I need to work out which tactic I'm going to use and then see if I need to make any signings. I've already bid for one player, Huntelaar, the striker. He was transfer listed by Schalke, 275k they want for him, and he looks quality. Now I have this enabled attribute masking, so I can't see every single attribute for a player. I've tried to make it as difficult as possible for myself. I didn't do that on Regen Rovers. I've explained those reasons previously, but with a big save, I'm a good quality manager at a good quality team. I want to make this a little bit difficult and scouting to be much harder. But we know what Huntelaar's like. He's a quality finisher. West Ham need a striker really because Carroll's injured for 4 to 6 months at the start of this. Diafra-Sakho's injured for 4 to 5 months. Caleri, who actually looks really good on this save, I don't know if he's going to actually score goals in the Premier League. So it would be nice to have someone else available at the start of this season. For those of you wondering how regular this series will be, I don't know, if I'm honest. There will probably be times where I play this save to death and you'll see a video quite regularly, and then there'll be other times where it doesn't come out as regular. I'm actually going to try and play a couple of seasons before I even upload episode 1. If you're looking forward to this series, it would be nice if you could hit that like button. That would be much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Maybe go and check out Regen Rovers. That's a completely different style to this series, but you might find that quite interesting as well. Before I move on and decide tactics and that sort of thing, I will do most of the stuff behind the scenes, by the way. You won't see me doing a huge amount. I will basically just be updating you as to what has happened in the season. But I think I need to show you my profile. So I've selected a manager who is suitable for this level. So you know when you set up a profile and you can tick the button so you're suitable for the club in a particular division. So I'm a Premier League quality manager with a Continental Pro license, and I've selected various things here, various attributes. So I've gone for attacking, tactical, and working with youngsters and mental training. I'm more of a tactical manager as opposed to tracksuit manager. I pulled the bar slightly over to the right. So I'm very good at motivating man management, also got good youngster and player knowledge, and also I'm very determined. I don't need to be adaptable because I'm not going to be moving abroad. And level of discipline, I've selected to 1 at the moment. I'm not one for really fining players crazy amounts all the time. And I currently only have a 1-year contract, so the series could end very soon if it goes terribly wrong. This might be a 1-episode series. But I'm hoping not, because I've always been pretty successful at West Ham over my years on Football Manager. I've won multiple Champions Leagues and league titles with West Ham United. Now, before I zoom ahead far into the future and leave you behind, I just thought I'd show you where we're predicted to finish this season. We're predicted to finish 10th in the league, 50-1 to win the league. I'm aiming for, I guess, a higher mid-table finish, possibly trying to get that 7th place, which Everton probably will be going for. Leicester will be good on the save, even after the winter update. I'm sure they'll have some quality in their team. Our key players, apparently, Feghouli and Winston Reid. Reid is an incredible centre-back, and Feghouli is actually, in real life, starting to become an important player for West Ham. He's grown slowly into the Premier League and really is starting to show some quality. He's worth a lot of money, considering West Ham signed him for £0. So 28.5 million he's worth. So perhaps if it doesn't work out for him at West Ham on this save, I could sell him for a big profit. And we'll just have a look at the comparison as well, so you can see how he compares against other Premier League teams in the league. You can see we've got some good leaders in this team. Mark Noble, Winston Reid, Fonte, ex-Southampton captain, of course. So that's encouraging, but we're below average on a few key things, such as technical attributes, first touch and passing. We're 11th best or 9th best in the league. Goalkeeper wise, Randolph and Adrian is something I do want to improve upon going forward into the future. They're both good keepers, but they're not spectacular. They're they're very similar ability wise. And a young quality goalkeeper is something I would like to focus on in the next couple of years especially. But overall, our goalkeepers are just above average on most things, apart from handling, really. Defensively, I'm pretty confident in my defence. We've got some good players. I'd like to sell James Collins. He's old. I've offered him out for £1 million. It probably is a bit too much for him considering his age, but we'll see how that goes. Overall, centre-back wise, I'm fine. Left-back, we've got Creswell and Masuaku. Right-back, Sam Byram. He should really be played in real life by Bilic, but he's not for some reason. But I like Sam Byram. We've also got Arbeloa, who's been forgotten about at West Ham. Midfield-wise, I'm relatively happy. Obiang is quality. Mark Noble's a great passer of the ball, a good leader, takes penalties well. Kiyate, bit of a box-to-box maestro, I suppose. Don't know if the game, what the game has suggested. He's probably a ball-winning midfielder, actually, but I prefer him as a box-to-box midfielder myself. And up front, it's actually, heading-wise, Andy Carroll, of course, increases that, as does Sacco, I suppose. Like I said, I am looking to sign another striker. Physically, we're pretty good jumping-wise. Strength is impressive. Balance, quite good. But pace and acceleration are much lower than I would expect. We've got Antonio, who's just a raging bull down the wings, isn't he? He just runs for hours at a very high pace. So he's going to be an important player, I think. Mentally, decent, and technically, sort of some things are very strong and other things are a bit lower. So we need to try and focus on our strengths this season, I suppose, and come up with a tactic that is really good. Anyway, you will join me at the end of the season right now. So then, I had a very successful season in my first year in charge of West Ham United. We managed to break into the top 6. We finished above Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, who finished below us in 7th. We only finished 3 points behind Chelsea in 4th place and 8 points behind first place Arsenal, who managed to pip Spurs to the title on goal difference. That'll make you Arsenal fans happy, although maybe it will make you sad as well, because in real life it's not really going to plan. But It really was an incredible season for us to actually finish in 6th place when in 21 games we only lost 7 games, which is the joint lowest along with Spurs. Good goal difference, we scored 61 goals. It really was just a phenomenal season, especially after a pretty tricky start, I must say. We had terrible injury problems at the start of the season and a really tough start to the season fixture-wise. And I was fearing for my place as manager around about game 10. I don't think there was any real pressure on me, but I was thinking this could be really tough, this save. But we've managed to get up to 6th place by the halfway point of the season, and we did a Man United, apart from dropping to 7th for one game week, but we were 6th for ages, all the way until the end of the season. We never really were close enough to break into the top 5 or top 4, really. There was always a bit of a gap. It finished only 3 points difference, but we were generally 4 or 5 points behind most of the time during this period, so we were unlikely to catch them, especially as these teams seem to be winning a lot of games. Middlesbrough, Hull and Burnley went down with under 30 points, all of them, so it was quite a top-heavy season this year with the top teams dominating, and it was just a marvellous achievement to actually break in to that top 6. I must say, though, Jermaine Defoe is way too overpowered. He's obviously had a cracking couple of years with Sunderland, but to score 35 goals in the league, 41 goals in all competitions this season in 43 games. That is just ridiculous. I did actually try and sign him in January, but they rejected a £15 million bid. So I was unable. I didn't even have £15 million, to be honest. I had about 5 million. But I just wanted to see if they would accept it. But no, he just had an insane season. My goals were shared around the team. We'll have a look in a second. But you can see none of my players featured on this list. It was just, apart from yellow cards, Mark Noble and Byram, there was no outstanding individual performances for the entire season. We had some very outstanding performances for individual games, but overall the whole team just played well as a unit. And our first season in the London Stadium, the Olympic Stadium, it's a good, well, the legacy is already starting, and we're only in the first season to actually achieve this. I'm proud, actually, to manage that. So you're wondering how did I finish 6th? This is what this series is all going to be about. Remember, I'm just going to do season updates. So you won't see things in detail, but I'll try and show as much detail in as short time as possible, essentially. You can see I made very few signings, as you generally do in the first season. The first player to come in was a striker. We had some bad injuries in pre-season. Caleri got injured for 4 months. Andy Carroll, of course, is injured for a long time, as is Sacco. So the only player I actually had going into the first few friendlies was Ashley Fletcher, the under-23 player who was signed from Man United in real life. So I thought I need to sign strikers. So I signed Huntelaar. He knows where the back of the net is. He's a born goal scorer. He scored goals all over the place during his career. Schalke had transfer listed him. He only cost 275k. 100k a week, though, contract-wise, for the next 3 seasons. Well, 2 seasons now, until 2019, which is a lot for considering how old he is. And he wasn't prolific. He scored 11 goals this season, 9 in the league. I didn't have any prolific players. They were all just sharing the goals around. Still, it's an okay season. I signed him for goals, and he did score some important goals. He's just not got the pace for the Premier League, really. He probably could do with playing alongside another striker rather than just being a one-up front man. But he still did pretty well, considering the circumstances, coming into a new team. Never played in England before, has he? He's played for some big teams, but he's never played in England. So I was quite happy with him. And for 275k, it was nothing. I know I'm paying him a lot of money a week, but that's what the money's there for, I guess, to try and bring these great players into the team. The next player was James Wilson, who we signed on loan from Man United. He only scored 2 goals for us, though, both of them in the same game against Huddersfield in the League Cup, which we actually lost 3-2 in the end, which was a bit disappointing. Our cup form this year was not good, unfortunately, but the league form was very, very good. So I let him go back to Man United in January when Sacco and Carroll and all our other players came back from injury and I didn't need him anymore. And lastly, the other player is Sem Kusters, a Dutch goalkeeper who has remarkable potential. From my affiliate in Holland, I just looked at the youth team to see what potential there is, got the player scouted, and my scouts came back and said this guy is a star for the future. He was only 16 at the time. He's just turned 17 this month, so he really is one for the future. I don't know if any of you guys have signed him on Football Manager. I haven't heard of him, But I've been playing Regen Rovers, remember, so I've not really got into real players at all. I've not signed any real players, of course, until this point. And Huntelaar's the first real player I've signed on Football Manager. Well, that's a lie. I did manage Liverpool on the beta, of course, those of you saw that series. But since then, I just had 3/4 of a season with them before the save broke, of course. Since then, I've not signed any real players on the game. I've got high hopes for him. Let's hope he can go on and be a world-class goalkeeper. I did make some sales as well, though. James Collins, he's old, don't really need him. He's a great West Ham player. He's done a good job over the years. He's a popular guy around the training field, but it's not really going to make a difference on Football Manager. So I've sold him to Leicester for 250k. Didn't need him, so I got rid of him. Arbeloa I sold in January. He's old as well. We signed him for a free in real life. Played a couple of games. Played 6 starts, 2 sub-appearances, but I want to develop Sam Byram, who in real life Slaven Bilic seems to be trying to not develop by not playing him. He's a right back, play him at right back. But I got rid of Arbeloa in January, so we may do with one right back until the end of the season in Sam Byram, and Nordvet did have to fill in a couple of times. But that was okay, because I actually made a little bit of money on him and got rid of a reasonably big contract as well. I also sold Jonathan Calleri. Like I said, he got injured for 4 months, really bad injury, but that really did impact the start of his season, I suppose, the start of his West Ham career. In real life, I think West Ham have only got him on loan, but because he's owned by a few different clubs, I think, in South America, I think for Football Manager purposes, they've just put him at West Ham for £4 million on a 1-year contract. So I thought, do I give him a new contract, give him another chance next season, or try and make some money? I've made a little bit of a loss technically by selling him to West Brom, but it could rise to £4.4 million if he plays 50 games for West Brom. Or if he's sold on to another team, so if he suddenly turns into a world beater and is sold on, I get 50% of that sell-on fee. So I could get quite a bit of money for him long term anyway, if he turns out to be a decent player, I guess. So I think that's a little bit risky, selling him, because he might turn out to be amazing, but at the same time, if he's sold, I'll earn some money anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Squad-wise then, how did the individual players perform? Well, you can see that Darren Randolph was our main goalkeeper this year. Adrian's contract's up in the summer, he wants to leave. I'm not going to renew it. I just fancied Randolph more over Adrian. They play quite similarly in the games they did play, average rating wise. They did both pretty well. To get over a 7 for a goalkeeper is actually pretty good. So Randolph's done really well to get a 7.03 over 43 games. My long-term aim is to make Randolph my backup for a couple years, hopefully bring in a really good quality goalkeeper next season, and then eventually our young Dutch goalkeeper Kusters will come in and be backup for a star goalkeeper for a few years before he becomes the number 1. That's the plan. Whether that happens or not, time will tell. The player that made the most appearances this year was actually Angelo Ogbonna, who I wasn't even sure was going to be my first choice centre-back this year. I had Reed down as first choice, but then was it going to be Jose Font from Southampton, or Ogbonna? Ended up being Ogbonna on the left-hand side. Font ended up being my third choice, and I'm kind of tempted to sell him in the summer. He won't go for very much at all. Considering we signed him for £8 million in real life, that might be a bit stupid, because he's only worth £1 million, according to the game. So it probably makes sense to keep him, but he's old as well, and some players, I don't mind being old on Football Manager, but I kind of want to develop Reece Burke next year, who had a cracking time out on loan at a couple clubs. He came back from Wigan, not sure why. But I loaned him out to Blackburn and then to Wolves. So he didn't play for Wigan, he played for Blackburn and for Wolves. And had a great time at both those clubs, particularly Wolves, who I think have had a very good season. And they've actually managed to get promoted from the Championship. He helped them to promotion. They were third when he went there, and he's ended up pushing them up to second. Had a really, really good time. So Reece Burke, I developed on FM16 to be a quality England international. Alongside Reece Oxford, I played those two as my two main centre-backs from the second season onwards. So effectively from this season. He's not quite up to it yet, but he is. I think he is a quality player. I think he should be my third choice behind Reed and Ogbonna. And that's why I'm thinking about selling Font, even if it is only for £1 million and making a bit of a loss on him. because I want to develop Burke. I'm also signing someone else, another centre-back, but I had to go for him because he's available on a free. Diego Llorente, he is incredible. He looks insane, not just looking at his star ability, but looking at his individual attributes. He looks very good. He's been on loan at Malaga this year, done all right. He's a Real Madrid player, but they're not renewing his contract. He's 23, he's already been capped by Spain once. I had to go for him. There's going to be other big clubs coming in for him. It's just too good a deal not to go for. So I'm going to have Reed, Burke, Font and Llorente, and possibly Ogbonna of course. That's a lot of centre-backs to try and fit into 2 centre-back roles next year. I could play 3 at the back, or I might just have to be ruthless and drop someone. Or Llorente will have to come into the team and fight for his place, because Reed and Ogbonna have been pretty solid for most of the season together. So it's just a decision I'll have to make over time, I guess. Goals-wise then, top goal scorer actually was Sakho. It was Huntelaar for most of the season, but Sakho came back. In real life he's been just so injury prone lately. Real problems with his back. And he didn't come back until like November, December on this save. And then he went off to the African nations. So it was just such a weird season for him. But he scored 11 goals in 17 starts and 2 sub appearances. That's a really good rating. Perhaps next year he should be my main man up front. I would like to sign a world beater up front, but I don't know how much money I'll be given. We'll see that in episode 2. But yeah, I need to decide what to do about Sakho, because he's obviously a finisher. He's got 17 on finishing, which I think's really high. He's also a very good header of the ball with 16, so he's not that far behind Andy Carroll. He's also pretty pacey and strong. He's a great player. He's had his problems, but he's back, and he scored 4 goals against Hull City in 1 game, so that's pretty impressive. Maybe he should be my main man next year if I can't find anyone else, because he's obviously proven he can score goals. Snodgrass had a bit of a mixed season actually. He started 18 games, came off the bench 19 times, but was our 3rd top scorer with 9 goals. Also some good assists and an okay average rating. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange season really, considering how many goals he scored, but his performances didn't quite match up to that. He was just hit or miss, I suppose, at times. Figuli, Lanzini and Ayew also managed to get 7 goals each. You can see how the goals were shared around the team. It was very few players that didn't score for us. Adrian and Randolph, the 2 goalkeepers, then Byron, Reed and Font. Everyone else managed to score this season. Assist-wise, Lanzini was top. He's a quality player. I've seen that in his performances. He just dribbles around players with ease. He's creative. He's brilliant behind the main striker. This is the 2 tactics I went with this season. More defensive one away from home and against the bigger teams, with some more disciplined play, I guess. And then at home or against the weaker teams, this. So it's the same formation. I've also got one of my Regen Rovers tactics there, but I've never used it. And I kind of had very few instructions, and as the game progressed, if I noticed things, then I would just try and take advantage of them and maybe exploit one particular flank if I saw it as a weak spot, or exploit the middle, or go direct, pump the ball into the box, be more expressive, go up to overload if necessary. So I was just very adaptable in each and every game, and adapted the team and the tactics to who I was playing, and that worked really well, as you can see from the results. We finished 6th, which is pretty impressive. Obiang was a standout player this year, probably my player of the season. He was just incredible. He really was. He's such a good player. Played him as a Roman playmaker and in this position here, and he was just magnificent. 6 goals, couple from long range, 7 assists as well for him. 7.14 average rating. Really good. Figuli and Byram also managed to pick up 7 assists down that right hand side. Ayew had an injury hit season for the first half, and then he went off to African Cup of Nations, just like a few of my players actually, including Figuli. So we did miss out on a few of my players in January. It was a bit of a struggle then to put together a first 11 and 7 substitutes, but some of the youth players came in during that time. But Ayew did pretty well actually on his return to the team. 7 goals, 6 assists. Not bad for his first season at West Ham United. Edmilson Fernandez, I do like. He's Swiss, but he's decided to play for Portugal. He's also eligible for Cape Verde Islands. He's got 1 under-21 cap for Switzerland, and he's now got 1 under-21 cap for Portugal. High hopes for him. He's really, really good on this. Got really good potential. He scored 6 goals this season and got 5 assists. Very impressive stuff from him. Someone who I was hoping for a bit more from this year was Antonio. I think he picked up one injury, but I suppose Figuli just was very good down that right-hand side. Antonio on the left-hand side was alright, but I favoured Ayew when he came back. And he only got 5 assists and 2 goals. He's a little bit different on the game compared to real life. He's obviously very good at heading. He's very powerful, physically good, pacey. That's what he's good at. But in real life, I think his dribbling... He's just a strange player in real life, because sometimes he's just unstoppable, and other times he doesn't really know what he's doing himself with his dribbling ability. He's just doing things, and because he doesn't know what he's doing himself, he beats the player. So I don't think it's hard to translate his real life performance into Football Manager, I think, and he doesn't quite play the same way. He's more about, long throws, heading, and we didn't really see a huge amount of his heading this year because I didn't play him as a striker. It's just a difficult player to fit somewhere, I suppose. He's an interesting one, but I still love him. He's one of my favourite players in real life. Player of the match wise, Lanzini, 5 man of the match awards. He was the best for that. And average rating, Ogbonna was top, 7.22. Quietly went about his business, got 3 goals, got 3 assists, 3 man of the match awards. And he was just consistent, I suppose, and that's why he ended up with such a high average rating. Next was Obiang, who's brilliant. Reed also brilliant at the back. Masuaku played very well. Him and Creswell, they both played well at left back, actually. Masuaku started the season because Creswell was injured. He actually kept his place for a while, because Creswell initially wasn't great on his return, but did improve towards the end of the season. Now, who do I play long term? They're both the same ability, apparently, currently, but Masuaku actually has more potential. But I do like Creswell, and he's English, and he works hard for the team. He's got a great cross on him. He's got 16 on crossing, so it's difficult to know what to do about him long term. So you can see then, this is the competition history from this first season. You can see we were knocked out the FA Cup by Spurs in the 3rd round, not great. And we were knocked out in the 3rd round of the EFL Cup by Huddersfield, also not great. UEFA Europa League wise, we did okay. We got to the first knockout round, which is probably what I was expecting. The board were expecting quarter-final, so I didn't do what they were expecting. And we disappointingly lost to Hertha. But it enabled us to push on and finish 6th, I think. I think without finishing that, getting knocked out here, we wouldn't have finished 6th in the Europa League. Then again, if we'd won the Europa League, of course, we'd have qualified for the Champions League, which is what Man United have managed to do this year. So, recap of our results this season. You can see we had a very good pre-season. Domingos Quina, the young Portuguese player, actually scored a hat-trick in one game. He will feature more and more over the next couple of seasons. Hopefully, we'll play a few first team games next season. He only played 1 this year, coming off the bench. Huntelaar had a good pre-season. It was just a confidence building period, I suppose, and we managed to get through our 3rd qualifying stage of the Europa League easily. We also managed to get through the playoff stage reasonably comfortably, but the start of the season was harsh. Middlesbrough we should have won away from home. They got relegated this year. Snodgrass saved us with a 63rd minute goal. But then 4-2 defeats against Liverpool, 1-0 defeat against Man United, and the next game we had Man City, which was always going to be tough. And realistically, we lost 6-1 in real life. West Ham have been thrashed by Man City lately, and this was no different. But Obiang did score a cracking goal, which I do want to show you. So this was the one positive from this game. It was an awful game. Look at that strike. That was beautiful from Pedro Obiang. He did that 2 or 3 times this season as well. He's got a long shot on him. He scored his first goal for West Ham in real life a few weeks ago with a long shot. He does have that in him, and we saw that quite a bit this season. But we managed to resurrect ourselves. We've managed to get a win against Braga in the Europa League. We did crash out the EFL Cup and lost against PAOK in the Europa League group stage as well. But we managed to win that group, and we went on an incredible run, an unbeaten run, all the way to that Tottenham game where we lost 1-0 in the league. Highlight was definitely against Chelsea 3-2. Now this was Antonio's best moment of the season. I brought him on towards the end of the game as a wide target man on the right hand side, and it did its job. We were 2-1 down at this point, but we turned it around in style away from home What a brilliant result. Ayew with the assist for that first goal. And then in the 93rd minute, I thought it was all over. I was like, oh, we managed to get a draw. What a result. But with 20 seconds to go, another cross from Ayew, and Antonio, it wasn't like a header as a wide target man, but he was just that person getting into the box from the right wing, and it just worked wonders. He couldn't really do... That was his only 2 goals of the season, wasn't it? Yeah, his only 2 goals of the season got us a 3-2 win against Chelsea. So that was a really pleasing moment, a highlight of the season. We also managed to draw against Arsenal 2-2, which was a good result. Late goal from Lanzini in that one. But really good run. We lost against Spurs. We went on another good run before losing against Spurs in the FA Cup and losing against Liverpool in the Premier League. But we did manage to beat Man United with a 3rd-minute goal from Ogbonna. So that was a very pleasing result as well. Before having a little bit of an iffy patch here, you can see we drew against Burnley, but that followed on from a very good win at home against Man City, getting revenge for that 6-1 defeat. Ayew with the winning goal in the 33rd minute. But like I said, a bit of a poor run. We lost against Arsenal, bit unfortunate. Carroll did try and get us back into the game with only that was his first goal of the season, I think. And then we lost against Hertha Berlin after going 1-0 up. And a draw against them at home was not good enough. So we crashed out of that competition. But from then on, we only lost against Spurs. Spurs were our nemesis this year, weren't they? We lost against them 3 times, is that right? Feels like it. I think so. Yeah, I lost against them once in the FA Cup and twice in the league. So despite the best efforts from Sacco trying to get us back into that with an 89th minute goal and a 93rd minute goal, but it wasn't enough. Biggest win of the season was a 5-1 win against Hull City. Sacco scored 4 goals. What a performance from him. He just came alive in that game and pushed on from there till the end of the season. And we managed to beat Chelsea 2-0. Really, really impressive win. To do the double over them this year as well was very pleasing. And in the last few games, a win against West Brom, draw against Southampton, win against Swansea, and a win against Crystal Palace. Aaron Creswell with the goal that grabbed us the 6th place. Without that goal, we would have finished below Man City, I think. So this was the goal that got us European football this year. I don't know why the hell he was in the 6-yard box, but I'm not complaining. That was his first goal of the season. So really, really pleasing. Under 23 wise, there's been some good performances out on loan from the likes of Josh Cullen at Bradford City. Really good performances from him. I know the Bradford fans love him in real life. So he could come back and be a star in the middle for us, because he's already got the ability of someone like... Well, he's not far off Noble's ability. He's got the ability of Nordvad. He's better than Kiyate in central midfield, apparently. I don't know what to do about him. He almost went to Napoli in January, but they didn't have the funds in the end, so that the deal was cancelled. He doesn't quite fit into any of my tactics, if I'm honest. He's another player that is kind of hard to represent on the game compared to his real-life performances. He's like a player that is very versatile, can play centre-back, defensive midfield, central midfield, or even attacking midfield, really, because he's just got that drive about him. He's a box-to-box player, essentially, but on the game, he's more of a ball-winning midfielder, which I wouldn't say he is. But there we go. So I don't really know what to do about him. But yeah, great performances from Cullen. Marcus Brown as well came back to us and had a few good games for us in the under-23s. Quina, of course. Fletcher scored 12 goals. I don't think he's ever going to cut it in the first team. He's 21. His potential doesn't look like he's going to really improve massively. So maybe I should try and sell him. We signed him for £500,000. He did score... What cup did he score in? That must have been an under-23 cup. The under-18s, though, is where it's really at, because we've signed some good regens. On Regen Day, we had Andrew Brownhill come through. He's only 15 years old. He's not going to be 16 until July. And he's got 4-star potential. And he's already signed a pre-contract. So he's not going to be 17 for ages. But he signed a pre-contract. He could be a real star of this series, of this save. He's pacey, which is pretty useful for a modern day fullback. Attribute wise, there's a lot of things that can be improved, of course. But crossing of 9 already, he's only 15, so that will go up. All of these things will go up. He's got incredible potential, so we need to try and make the most of him. So pleased to see him. Custers, of course, in goal. Kieran James is a striker that I really have high hopes for, because he's got 15 on finishing, 15 acceleration, good teamwork and work rate. He's going to work hard for the team. Composure needs to be improved, off the ball anticipation as well. But to have 15 finishing already, he's also got 13 on free kicks. Whew, he could be a star as well, let's be honest. And Alex Thompson's probably the other player that I've got high hopes for. Central defender, 3-star potential, could be a star. And we've actually got another good keeper here as well, Emmanuel Thompson. There's a few players in here that could... But I've got hopes for Brownhill, Custers and James, Kieran James in particular, maybe Alex Thompson, but those top 3 especially, in the future, I hope to see in the first team. If this series goes for a long time, of course. I'm planning on playing the save basically in the background until FM18 comes out. So it's just going to be my secondary save alongside Regen Rovers, just season updates for the time being. And we'll see how it goes. But that pretty much sums up my first season. Is there anything else to talk about? Finances, I suppose. They're very positive. Of course, we've got a 60,000 seater stadium that can be expanded to 66,000 at some point. So we're bringing in a lot of money through the turnstiles. We're in the Premier League, so we get huge amounts of TV money. We finished 6th in our first year. We're surely just going to go on and become better and better, just like I did in my series, the thing I did on Twitter last year. We should become a dominant force in England and hopefully Europe as well. Next year's aim, try and finish 6th again. I don't know if I can do better than that in the second season, but secondary aim, try and win the Europa League, I suppose, and qualify for the Champions League that way. If we finish outside the top 6, it's not the end of the world as long as I am able to win the Europa League. One or the other, really, or both. That would be nice. The board are happy, of course. They haven't announced my transfer budget yet. But episode 2 will be the start of season 2, and it'll be the same format to this. I'll show you the start of season 2, just have a look at a few things, and then we'll skip all the way to the end of season 2 to see where we are at. So thank you for watching this first episode. Please smash that like button. It would be very much appreciated. I'm just trying to think if I've missed anything out, but I don't think I have. If you've got any thoughts, put them in the comment section below. Any insight, anything you've spotted, anything you think, well, who's going to be a star player in the future? Who do you think will be our main man? Who should I sign as well? Like, are there any players you would sign as West Ham manager in the second season? We've got a solid squad together. There's definitely ways I can improve this team, but training wise, players are doing really well. Andy Carroll's actually the worst player in the team according to current ability. He just adds something different. His heading's gone up to 20, started at 19, but other things are going down. He only scored, I'm blabbering, I was going to end the episode, but here we go, we're talking about Andy Carroll. He scored 2 goals this year. He was injury prone, he became a substitute towards the end of the season and managed to grab 2 goals, but perhaps I should cash in on him and try and sell him. I don't think I'll go for very much though. In real life I think I'd go for 25 million. Because of the danger he is, but on the game it's very difficult to replicate that. Another sort of player that doesn't quite work on the game but works in real life. I'm sure there's those players out there that you've got on Football Manager that in real life there's something different they offer to a team, but you can't seem to get it to work on Football Manager. So yeah, Andy Carroll's that player. So I might sell him. There's a few players that are under threat. There's a few players that will be released. So we might have quite a different team come the start of Season 2, although the same base, the same spine behind the team that worked well this year. That's it, guys. I'm going to shut up now. Have a great day. I'll see you very soon.